Okay, today we'll look at how to check your disk space and RAM space in Linux. Firstly, we'll look at du command, which stands for disk utilization. It is used for checking disk space used by files and folders in Linux. If I type du in the home directory, this command is going to give you the size of the files and the folders recursively. Now I'll be moving into the same bash folder which we have been using from many videos. If I type ls, there is one file and two folders. Now if I write du-h, h is for human readable format. Now we got the sizes of the folders inside this bash folder. But we didn't got the size of this kgf.sh script file. Now I'll write du-ah, which is going to give you the size of the files as well. Wait, the size of the kgf.sh file is also 4 kilobytes. Now I wanted to verify it with ls-l command. The actual size of kgf.sh file is 13 bytes. But the sizes of the folders are same 4 kilobytes each. But do you know why the size of the file is 4 kilobytes in du command? Now I'll try to explain why this behavior is observed.
మాస్ వాళ్ళకైతే అర్థం కాదు మినిమం డిగ్రీ చదువుకున్న వాళ్ళకి ఐఏఎస్ ఐపీఎస్ పెద్ద పై స్థాయి వాళ్ళకైతేనే అర్థమవుతుంది.
In Linux, not only in Linux, in any other operating system divides the disk into equal blocks. To know your block size, just simply type stat dot, which means statistical information. Block size is 4 kilobytes and file is stored in this block. And that's why even though the file does not contain anything, du command is showing the size of the file as 4 kilobytes. We already know that when a folder was created in Linux, it initially contains a metadata and links to itself and to the parent directory. But when a file is created in a folder, this folder does not store a file contents directly. Instead, it contains an entry for each file or a subdirectory inside it. These entries are the pointers to the inode of each file. Inode is actually a file that contains metadata like file size, permissions, and pointers to the data blocks where the actual file was present. So, folders are just the files that contains links to files or subfolders present in this and are present in the block, and that's why these 4 kilobytes. If I write ls-li, did you observe the numbers in the left? These are the pointers to the inode files, which holds pointers to the data blocks where these files and folders are present. So this is what a folder contains: name of the file or a folder and pointer to the inode file. Okay, what is this 16 kilobytes in du-ah command? 12 kilobytes is the size of the contents in this folder and 4 kilobytes is the size of the bash folder. This is also present in the block, right? So summing up everything is 16 kilobytes. Now I hope you could able to understand this du command, and the next command is df. This command is used to display the amount of disk space available and used on mounted file system. If you type df, you are going to get all the file systems present in this. Mine was a simple Ubuntu terminal, and that's why all this. For you, this might not be the case. You can think these file systems in Linux as drives in Windows. If you type df-h, it is going to give you space utilized and free in human readable format like gigabytes, kilobytes instead of large numbers. If I write df kgf.sh, it is going to give me on which file system this kgf.sh was mounted. This file was mounted on /dev sdc file system. This file system size was almost 1 terabyte and 22 GB was used and 934 GB is still available. If you want to get the total disk space of your system, use df-h-total. --total sums up all the mounted file systems. Next command is free, which is used to display your system's memory. If I write free-h, I'll get the total RAM space and swap space as well. Swap is a virtual memory used when RAM is completely full. It is not a part of your physical memory but instead resides in a disk. My total RAM space is 7.6 GB and swap space is 2 GB. My available RAM space is 6.2 GB and my free space is 6.1 GB. Okay, if I write free-s and 4, now it is going to display the RAM space and swap space for every 4 seconds. Okay, now let's write a bash script for fun on what we have learned till now.
Just for fun, man.
Now let's pass some random number as an argument to the script. If the passed number exceeds the total RAM space, then we must get the message RAM space is not sufficient. Now I'll write free-empty-h so that I'll now get a total memory and swap space. Now here the total free space was 7.9 GB. So to filter the last line, I'll now use grep command. If I write grep total, the last line was filtered. Now to get the 7.9 GB from that total line, I can use awk or cut command. For now I'll use awk command. I'll write awk print $4. Now I got 7.9 GB. So now to get rid of that gi at the end, I'll now use trim command. I'll write tr-d and gi so that gi will be trimmed at the end. Look, now we got only 7.9 as the output. I'll now use this entire command in the bash script. Now I'll open the same kgf.sh script file. Now I'll create a variable called ram and I'll now pass the entire command to this ram variable. We already know that whenever we pass the command to the variable, we have to use dollar parenthesis. Now I'll simply write the variable ram less than $1, which means first passed argument. Then I'll just print ram space is not sufficient. Now I'll close this if condition using fi. When I save this script and execute by passing 8 as an argument, I got some error. Invalid arithmetic operator. Okay, as the RAM space is 7.9, in bash, if conditionals by default they does not support any floating point comparisons. So there is a tool called BC, which means basic calculator, using which we can compare the floats. I'll now comment the previous code. Now this BC command accepts a arithmetic expression to compare. Now using echo command, let's get that arithmetic expression, and using pipe command, let's pass that arithmetic expression to BC command. Now this bc-l command evaluated that arithmetic expression and provides 0 or 1 as an output. 0 for false and 1 for true. To print that output, we have to again write echo command. Again I need to use dollar parenthesis. Now I need to put ram less than 1 in double quotations to treat as a single unit, or else because of pipe only one argument will be passed to BC command. When I save this file, if I execute the script by passing 7 as an argument, we got 0. If I again run the script by passing 8 as an argument, now we got 1. Now if I pass 8.2 as an argument, again we got 1. Okay, now let's again open the script file. Now I'll copy the above command to generate an if condition. Inside the if condition also, I need to put the entire command in dollar parenthesis. When I save the script and execute by passing 12 as an argument, look, I got a message as RAM space is not sufficient, as well as 1. Now if I execute the script without passing any argument, I got some syntax errors. So now let's write a script so that it identifies an empty parameter. I'll again open the script file. Here I'll write if -z $1, which means whenever the first argument was empty, I'll simply print please pass one value. I'll now change the below if to elif, and when I save this file and execute, I got a message as expected, but there is one more syntax error. Now I'll again open the same script file to debug. Okay, because of this line we are getting that syntax error out. When I save and execute the script file without any arguments, we got the message as expected.